Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another episode here at Sobriety University. On this channel, we talk about addiction and recovery related topics. My name is Joel, and in today's video, we're gonna be talking about what marijuana really does to a person. So as you know, we talk a lot about marijuana on this channel, and I am just gonna kind of share some of the experiences I went through and what I've seen throughout recovery, similar habits and patterns that happen to people that I've gotten sober with, that I've been in support groups with. And hopefully some of that wisdom can transfer to you and help you realize some of the negative consequences about marijuana. I know it's, especially nowadays, it's kind of more widely accepted, which is great. And I definitely want to say, I don't think marijuana in itself is evil. I really want to make that point clear because I know I talk a lot about the consequences of it. However, when somebody abuses it, that's when it becomes kind of a problem. And so it's never the substance, it's more well, that's not true. Heroin, for example, I would probably say that's a substance. But for marijuana, I would say for some people it works, for some people it can be helpful. Long term though, I did not find it helpful or useful. So before we begin, like, comment, subscribe, it really helps out the channel. We are growing to 500 subs here, really exciting. I also wanted to let you know that I've recently started Sobriety one-on-one coaching. So if you are sick and tired of being trapped in your addiction, watching days, weeks, months of your life go by, then I invite you to apply down below to work with me personally, and together we will help you hit your first 30 days sober, and then from there create a game plan for you to have long-term sobriety. So diving right in, first thing that marijuana does to somebody is it kills motivation. Now this is probably one of the most obvious ones. I know at first it wasn't too bad of a hindrance where I could smoke, I could still go to class because I started smoking in college pretty much. I could still go to work. And I was like, okay, so maybe this could be a tool. Maybe I could use this to focus. It's like, come on. However, as time went on, I found that I just became more and more lazy. Now, was it a direct cause from the pot? I don't know. I do believe in correlation equals causation though, and I know that it definitely played a role in it. So towards the end of my freshman year, that's when I had started smoking heavily. I just remember the thought of going to class versus hanging out with my buddies, playing video games and smoking was like, obviously I'm gonna do B here. There was no way I was gonna just stop smoking and go to class. Are you kidding me? And I mean, I was still getting through class, so it wasn't like the end of the world. However, when I moved into my own apartment, that's when it really started to go downwards. I was living with a group of guys, shout out to the boys. We had a great time, and they were people that could smoke and be functioning. Still pass their classes, still get their good grades. And I don't think they had a strong of an addiction, or at least it didn't affect them as much as it did for me. So I just remember as slowly as the year went on, I just became more and more glued to my couch, just waiting to get home to smoke, sometimes smoking in the morning, just any time I could get high I would. And it definitely reflected in my grades. So it killed my motivation. It killed my motivation to study, to go out and have relationships, to go out and meet people and just kind of live life. Once I got really deep in it, I just completely stopped working out. There was no way I was gonna go to the gym when I could just sit on my couch, sit on my bed and smoke weed and watch Netflix or whatever. So that's the first thing that happens from marijuana, is it kills motivation. Number two is it really affects sleep. Now, I've talked about this before in other videos. I'll link one or two down below. That marijuana really affects REM sleep, and it kind of inhibits the ability to reach deep REM sleep. So basically, like I just said, I go to sleep, I'll smoke weed, and I can't get into that deep state. And that's why I didn't dream very much when I was smoking. And it has some very long-term effects, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. And I can remember that when I did quit smoking weed, I was able to just sleep like a baby. I was having dreams again, which was kind of scary at first. So if you're going through that, I totally empathize. It can be kind of jarring to be like, wow, like all this memories are coming up in my dreams. I'm like thinking, like dreams are just trippy, trippy as shit. And when I haven't had a dream in potentially years, yeah, it can be pretty jarring. So I totally get you, totally understand, and just keep having those dreams, because over the long term, it's gonna help process through issues. It's gonna help kind of solidify events in the day and just be able to grow up and move forward. So that goes into number three, which is marijuana stunts growth. Again, like I just talked about with the sleep, when one isn't able to process their day, their experiences in life properly, it can really keep one stuck, as it did for me, in a specific state of being. So I basically, when I was smoking heavily, like I was kind of always in the mentality of an 18-year-old, because that's when I started smoking. And when I quit, I basically was an 18-year-old again. And I had to I always felt like a step behind, because mentally I hadn't matured to the next year of life, basically. It sounds kind of trippy as I say it out loud, and it kind of is. It's like, what do you mean? Like I'm 23 now, I quit smoking. I started when I was 18, whatever, or 16. I'm 23, dude, and it's like, I totally get that. What doesn't happen though is the maturity of the body, mind, and soul. And that began to happen when I did quit smoking marijuana. Thankfully, I was able to catch up. So it's not like I'm always going to be for the rest of my life a few years behind. I've definitely matured, I believe, past that in a lot of ways. However, for the first couple of years, I definitely had some catch up to do. And some other ways that it stops growth, and this leads into number 4, is it increases isolation. So I'm going to tie these two together here. So when I was smoking, the motivation, back to number 1, to go and meet people, have social lives, to date, to have romantic relationships, was zero. I wanted it deep down. However, I was so crippled with paranoia, anxiety, depression, self-doubt, fear, all that negativity that I was trying to suppress with the weed in the first place, that there was no way I was going to be able to nurture long-term healthy relationships. And because of it, my social ability stunted as well. So this goes back into number 3, where it stunted my growth, because I was not able to mature in a social sense and in a relationship sense past being in high school, basically, where I had friends all around all the time. I didn't have to like work at it, or obviously kids are selfish as crap. I'm not gonna lie. I was one of those selfish people. There are some outliers for sure, but I couldn't empathize. I didn't understand like how to listen and all that stuff. I didn't know how to do, basically, because I hadn't had that real world practice. Because for you young folks out there, when you get into the real world, people don't care about you as much as maybe high school portrayed. I know I felt like a hot shot in high school because I was in the paper, I was doing good at sports. Again, I had friends all around all the time, so I always felt like connected in that way. However, as soon as I got into the real world, even in college, none of that mattered. And I think that fact is kind of what maybe led me towards, or it's one of the reasons why I chose to smoke, because I didn't want to face that truth that I wasn't hot shit anymore. And as I got into the real world past college, I realized that, yeah, it definitely takes a lot more work to have a relationship, because obviously people are in their own lives now, creating their own worlds, having their own jobs. There's not tons of availability. So there has to be a little bit more precision in navigating relationships. And because of my copious amounts of smoking weed, I was unable to have that skill. And so when I quit, thankfully, I got to learn that skill, and I'm still learning today for sure. It's definitely something I'm always keeping an eye on, always calibrating within my life, and it's gotten a lot better. It's like, it's night and day, and I'm super grateful for that. So guys, with that, we're gonna end the video for today. Like, comment, subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like to be talked about next. And 2, what are some of the things that marijuana stops you from being able to achieve? Would love to know, and I'm sure other people would as well. Again, sobriety coaching is now available. Apply down below. I'll look forward to talking to you in the next one, and have a great day. Peace.